Welcome back to the Inspiration Station where stories spark action. I'm your host, Mr. U. If you're watching or listening for the very first time, thanks for making us part of your week. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, you can find all of our shows on our brand across social media platforms and on every listening platform for your podcast. Our guest today, certified IFS practitioner, trauma coach, and the co-founder of the Brimstone Coaching Group, as well as the co-host of Live Fully and Lead Authentically. Kurt Bush is here. Kurt, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, man. Good to have you here. All right, let's go ahead and jump in, man. I love what you talk about, what you deal with your clients and the people in your sphere of influence, people who are kind of quietly fake it until they make it. We hear that so much. It's become a mantra for a lot of people, but it's like, wow, there's a cost that comes with it. Some you got personal experience in that area, man. What have you gone through regarding this, man?
Yeah. I became a leader. Like, let me say, I think a leader is just someone who leads something or someone. So I think everybody is a leader, right? I think everybody's a leader. I don't think leadership is about title or role or anything like that. So I started leading in the like formal kind of corporate sense at a really young age. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I probably didn't have any business doing what I was doing. So what I learned early on was I don't know what I'm doing, but I also can't ask for help. I also can't look weak. I also can't like have doubts. So I just have to fake it till I make it. Even though I don't feel good, I just have to keep going. That is unsustainable.
Come on, man. Talk about it.
I just patently reject this idea that we have to, or that leaders have to look strong or give the appearance of performative strength, or can't have doubts or can't have weaknesses. So I think that's the real heart of it, is we just don't believe we can do those things as leaders. And I just want to say, I think we can. I don't think that's what leadership is about.
I feel like we get that message from somebody, because somebody could be an ambiguous day, but we get that message from somebody because it feels like your leaders have to be without spot, without blemish. It got to be perfect. But if the person who's holding expectations in their hands were the leaders, they wouldn't be able to live up to that either. So I'm like, why you want the leaders to do that? It's like it's very inconsistent and a bit hypocritical. You talk a lot about the inner critic. I want to identify the inner critic today, because some people might say, oh, it's my mother-in-law or my significant other. Who is the inner critic? And why should we listen to that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was with somebody the other day who actually named their inner critic Gertrude, which I thought was really helpful, because then you can talk to the inner critic. Yeah, I think there are a lot of external critics that we can get stuck listening to, but I think the inner critic is often the loudest. And let me say, I don't think the inner critic is always bad. I think there are times where the inner critic in me is telling me like I need to learn something, or I need to improve skills in some area. Like there are times where the inner critic is actually trying to help me and trying to illuminate a place of potential improvement in my life. However, I think the inner critic gets to be dangerous and unhelpful when it causes us to hide, right? So if my inner critic is telling me, see, I told you you're going to screw that up, and you did it every time. You're going to screw that up every time, or you're going to make that mistake every time. That inner critic is going to keep me from growing. That's just going to make me hide and not do that thing again, or avoid that feeling again. So I think that's the differentiation. If the inner critic is causing me to learn and grow, then that's probably okay. That's probably a helpful inner critic. If it's causing me to hide or avoid, then it's probably getting into the world of shame, getting into the world of like being unproductive for us.
That makes sense. We run into, I'm sure you can relate to this. We run into so many people in business circles, personal development circles, people who are on the success journey, if you will. And we're hearing all of these chases. Well, I definitely hear all the chases to success, trying to get either the corporate ladder or the entrepreneurship summit, if you will. Is a hidden cost, I believe, involved with doing this. So I want the people who are watching, listening, who are on that success journey, I want them to hear about the hidden costs up front before they go any further. What is the hidden cost that most leaders would not admit to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. I mean, entrepreneurs just have a lot of cost. Like, it takes a lot to be an entrepreneur and to start something from scratch. It takes a lot to climb the ladder too. I always start with the question like, how do we define success, right? I mean, I
Good question.
think the thing that I always want to say about success is that I want to define success for me based on my inputs, not the outputs, right? So if I can measure the things I can control and I can get to the end of the metaphorical day, if you will, whatever, maybe that's a year, maybe that's, performance review, whatever it is. If I can get to that point and look back over a period of time and say, I did everything I could do. I gave them the energy I could give. I controlled what I could control. I gave the effort I had. Then I want that to be success for me. However, I think when we start chasing those things that we might typically call success, whether that's title or salary or whatever that is, that is often so much out of our control. And I know we are in control of our outcomes for sure, but there's lots of other factors. And I think the cost of that is running and striving after something that maybe we can't actually control to the point where it's being beneficial to us, if that makes sense.
I think it does make sense. I consider myself a high performer. I'm pretty sure you do as well.
Yeah.
It feels like we're always the coaches for people who are just like us. But tell me about the blurred line between survival and success. Because I feel like a lot of high performers are just pushing. They're literally going on fumes. They got no gas.
Yeah.
They're going on fumes and they're basically in survival mode. Don't even know it. Can you help people who are watching, listen, who might be in that spot, identify what survival mode actually looks like?
Yeah. Survival mode, in my experience, looks like exhaustion and frustration. It looks like giving up control of the things we can control. I think about it like this: we have limits, right? We are humans, and whether we like it or not, we have limits. We have needs, and some of those needs are rest. Some of those needs are things like reflection and being alone and quiet, right? Those needs are going to find a way to be met. Whether we choose to meet them or not, they will find a way to tell us, I need rest. Like, our bodies will tell us, I need rest. So I think the question for me in that blurred line is, are we willing to do the work to meet those needs now? Or are we going to wait until they tell us, hey, I need my needs met? Now, that's all to say, high performers, entrepreneurs, whatever, like, there are seasons where rest is just not possible, right? There are seasons where, you know what, the business we're starting needs us to grind for 24 hours a day for 7 days a week. There are seasons. The question I always ask is that a sustainable practice, and for how long? Because if the answer is I could do this forever, you're lying to yourself, right? If the answer is this is a busy season and I have a month left in my tank, and that's when the season can end, perfect. You see a light at the end of the tunnel. I think it's all about awareness. If we can be aware of what we need and how those needs are getting met, I think that blurry line gets a little more clear.
I love to use the word awareness. It's a good segue to my next question. And what you're doing as a coach and all the things that go with that, which is a lot more than people think.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, I believe that self-awareness is an epidemic in our world.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a massive problem with it that nobody seems to be talking about. In your assessment, how do you view the self-awareness issue, and how does it apply to the work that you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I agree with you 100%. There's some like Harvard Business Journal data that says only 15% of Americans would consider themselves self-aware, which is crazy. Like, that is just wild to me.
That's a low number.
Yeah. And let me be clear, like, I don't think people are unaware of themselves because they're bad or they're bad leaders or they're not trying. Like, I think we're all trying. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, man, I just want to do a bad job today, or I just want to like not be aware of myself today. I think that the reality is, in this kind of Western work culture we live in, most people are just going so fast they don't even know how to stop and pause and be self-aware. There's this saying that fish don't know they're in water, right? You've heard this, that they don't know they're in water. This is just their normal, right? I think this culture that we live in, where it's like just go, 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 don't take your foot off the gas, metaphorically. I think that culture it does not lend itself to being self-aware. It requires us to do something kind of outside the norm to become self-aware. And I think what we see in our work is the people that can do the work to become self-aware, the kind of countercultural work, they are the ones that are going to thrive, and they are the ones that are going to succeed the most.
All right. I love that. I want to get into a little bit of your coaching work and your podcast work before we close the broadcast out. You are a co-host of the podcast, Live Fully, Lead Authentically. Love the title. For you, what does leading authentically look like, and what is the biggest surprise you've had on your show in your course of doing that kind of work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for asking it. So I think there's a myth about authenticity. I think many of us believe that authenticity is that we just say what's on our mind and we do what we feel, take it or leave it, right? Maybe if I don't have a short temper, but if I had a short temper and I kind of bit your head off on this podcast, I think a lot of people think authenticity is like, well, that's just Kurt, right? Take it or leave it. I actually think that's the opposite of authenticity. We define authentic leadership as leadership that aligns more and more with who and how we want to be. So we do the work with people to help them get really clear on who and how they want to lead. And then authentic leadership looks like getting closer to that. That's how we would think about that. Because I think, again, I don't think anybody gets up in the morning and says, I want to go to work and like lash out in a meeting today. I don't think anybody actually wants that. Narcissists aside,
you might be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. There's probably a population of people that want to do that. But in general, I think most people don't get up and want to do that. As far as the pod question, that's a good question. We haven't had we're only now getting into having guests.
Okay.
But I think one of my biggest surprises is we had I would call her a peer and a colleague, a fellow coach from Australia on, and it was just such a gift. It was such a gift to get to kind of share language and overlap stories. I think the surprise was how much we enjoyed just the actual connection with a peer. I think the overlap is probably the beautiful overlap was probably the surprise for me.
No, man, that's beautiful, man. Because I feel like whenever podcasters get together, it's something that people who are not, they won't understand the symmetry. You said the story overlaps, even the experiential overlaps.
Yeah.
And we have a guest that's like, we get to talk about this kind of stuff on a regular basis, in some cases full time.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's a surprising aspect, but it's good. It's just a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
More questions if I can do that with you, Kurt. When you first realized that leadership was kind of an uneven exchange. You were giving more than you were getting. And why did you quit?
That's a good question. Why did I quit giving more than I'm getting?
Why did you quit leadership period? Because for
sure.
me, I'm like, when I see that kind of uneven exchange, especially over a long period of time, I had those thoughts. Like, you know what? Maybe if I just give you this role back, I won't have to deal with this mess.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, and I'm trying to figure out how to answer. I do think leadership is an uneven exchange. I think it's a great question, and I love the way you frame it. I do think it is an uneven exchange. I think there's a deep amount of gratitude or gratification that I get from it too. Like, leading in the way that I lead, and I run a small business with a good friend of mine. Like, that is some of the most gratifying work that I can do, but it's also the hardest, right? That's the sort of uneven exchange right now for me is like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And when it hits and when it's on and it's fun, it's really fun and it's really gratifying. I think that the quitting part, here's what I think about the quitting leadership. I don't know that we ever get to, right? I had a season where I was a pastor. I led a church. I led a new church. And we had lots of anxious people. Starting a new church is really anxious work, and we built culture and all that kind of stuff. And
We're in that right now. That's what we are. Right, as we speak.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. Then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So there were a couple people in particular that would like come to me anxious, and they would lash out, and they would be really unhappy. And I would tell a peer of mine, a coworker of mine, I would say, I just want to lash out too. Like, I just want to meet them at their anxiety level. I don't want to be the adult in the room anymore. You know, like I don't want to be that person. I want to like let that down for an afternoon and yell back, right? And the question my coworker, he's a friend of mine, still is a friend of mine. He would say, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to do that?" And no, I don't. You know, like at the end of the day, as much as quitting sounds like fun and letting it go and like, you know, not being the adult in the room, sometimes that's what leadership is, just being the adult in the room. And I don't say that to demean anybody or degrade anybody, but you know, sometimes it is just being the least anxious presence. I don't want to, like, I think most times, if we're honest with ourselves, we do want to like hand the role back or hand the responsibilities back. But I think, you know, if we look a year down the road, I don't think we really want that. And I don't think we really can. I think most of us in leadership really just want to do the best job we can and power through it, you know?
Love it. I'm curious about this one. I made this a two-part question. I asked you this question, and then after that, you can let folks know where they can find you and your work. And we'll get your link up on the screen as well. All right, so my question for you, my final question, from coach to coach. I know that there is a stigma about coaching now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long it's been going on, but I've seen it at least the last 10 years at least.
Yeah.
Where everybody who just has the unction wants to be a coach, and they anoint themselves that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got to go get paperwork to say you can get certified, because that doesn't always mean anything either.
Yeah.
But it's an oversaturated market.
Yeah.
Why do you continue to do this? What are you doing to separate yourself, if you are thinking like that, from the those in a saturated market? And then after you get done with that question, let folks know where they can find you and your coaching work and your podcast work.
Yeah. I love that question. And I actually want to hear your answer to it too. I'll gladly answer it, but I would love to hear your answer to it as well.
After or before yours? Afterwards?
I don't know. Do you want to, like, you want to start? Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay. So here's what I would say. I think, yes, there are a lot of coaches, and I interact with some coaches that I'm pretty positive maybe should not be coaches. I interact with a lot of really great coaches too. So let me say that too. But there are some coaches I'm like, I'm not sure. I also think there's a stigma, like I've run into some podcasts where people have a stigma that coaching is this sort of like, man, just manifest something. You know, if I can just think something long enough, I can just manifest success. And actually, I don't think that's proper coaching either. Here's what we would say differentiates Brimstone Coaching Group from everybody else, or not from those stigmas. Let me say that we don't believe that we have that we have the answer, or that we are going to prescribe the answer to people's feeling of being overwhelmed or stuck. We believe that our job as coaches is to ask the right question at the right time so that people can find the solution that's already within them. And I think that's a huge separator. I think some of the stigmas are from coaches who prescribe and direct, do this, and you'll be successful, whatever that is. I don't know that that's even possible. Rather, we would say that when someone comes to us and says, I don't think I can keep leading the way I am, I don't think my life is sustainable, we believe the answer is already in them, and that we as an outsider can ask the right question that removes whatever barrier or obstacle is keeping them from seeing the solution. That's really what separates us. How would you answer that question?
I would do it right now. We'll drop this comment in here. We've got a comment from my friend Theo and Kathy, friends of the show. Says, I feel like that being a leader, we don't ever get to quit. We're supposed to actually be able to withstand what is thrown at us for the better. Yeah, basically it's that. I wish I could have a way to kind of put a nice salve on that for you, Theo, and say, hey, it gets better when I don't have one.
Yeah.
That's just the truth, like Kurt intimated earlier in our show. Definitely go back and hear his comments earlier in the show. You can get an answer to that question for the most part. That's leadership for you.
Yeah.
In regards to my question, my answer to the question, there've been many times we're talking about we're going into year 30 with this, where I decided, you know what, maybe I'm going to do this, but I never did it because it was a job or even an assignment.
Yeah.
It's an aspect of my personality.
Yeah.
And I didn't create it. I didn't read a book to develop it. It's always been there. So I feel like this, in that regard, it's a little bit unique.
Yeah.
Because I don't always hear that. We're talking about from maybe 8, 9 years old, answering questions that were way outside of my sphere.
Yeah.
I'm like, this was, for lack of a better word, this was a God-inspired thing. This is nothing I could ever take credit for.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't have those quit moments as much. I'm like, this is how you quit on yourself.
Yeah.
How do you quit who you are at your core? So that's kind of where that comes from. So I hang on to that.
Yeah.
I remember, you know what? Don't forget how this started. It wasn't from some ICE certification. It wasn't from, I had that, but that's not where it comes from. I have read books like The Prosperous Coach, fantastic book on coaching, but by Chandler Littman. But I don't lean on that. It's comes from a whole different stratosphere, if you will. So did I answer the question? I hope so, because that's kind of where that's kind of where I'm going.
I love it. Yeah, thanks for letting me ask a question of the host.
No, I love that, man. It's fun, man. Let's see where they can find you and your work, Kurt. Love it, man.
Yep. So our website is brimstonecoachinggroup.com. And on the website, there are places to book a session with either myself or Chris, my coaching partner. We give a free inquiry call where people can connect with us with no obligation, no charge, to say, hey, is our philosophy right for where you're feeling stuck? Is the coaching we do going to be helpful and fruitful? There's also links to our podcast, links to our book there as well.
I love it, man. Trauma coach, co-founder of the Brimstone Coaching Group, and co-host of Live Fully, Lead Authentically. That's Kurt Busch, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here, Kurt. Thanks for making us part of your week, man. Have a great day, guys. That's Kurt. I'm Mr. U. Thanks for making us part of your week.